Right. Oh, right. So I did say I was going to share some views about something how some of my views have moved on certain things, and it ties into a question that somebody had asked, that what do I think about stories of the prophets. Now, I know I had been asked previously about Adam alayhi salam, and what do I feel was this tree of knowledge, or this kind of tree, this forbidden fruit. What was it? Now, I don't know. At this stage, right, design talks. I'll get to your question in a moment. Right. Um, right now, I've previously said about Adam alayhi salam that, look, I have highlighted. I still, there is a diversity of opinion. I've even been intrigued by the view that the reference, the prohibition that don't do, was it actually to things like intercourse? Some scholars had highlighted that it was about intercourse and so on. And I'd said that sounds quite intriguing, and I've discussed that in the past. However, I feel now this is okay. Now I've kind of moved on, I think. I feel that Adam alayhi salam, this tree of knowledge, the forbidden fruit, may have been a kind of psychoactive plant. Okay. And I feel that psychoactive, whether it was something, I don't know exactly what plant, but something with psychoactive properties. The way you have psilocybin in mushrooms, or you have DMT and the ayahuasca kind of plants, but you have other kind of plants. DMT is found in other plants. Other drugs, similar kind of chemicals, are found in other plants that are psychoactive. I feel that I've been kind of looking into some of these things, saying some researchers who have said that they also feel that human consciousness may have been triggered by psychoactive plants. And I'm inclined that way. So I feel that maybe, because I have said before that I think that Adam alayhi salam was the father of the cognitive revolution. I've said that before on many occasions. And this kind of cognition arrives with consciousness. So it could have been that this shajaratul khuld, this tree of this kind of eternal fathoming and cognition, was a psychoactive plant. And by consuming that, it triggered consciousness. And maybe certain things were then represented as a story. So there may have been, so whether a snake, so for example, you have in the biblical version the snake, in the Quranic version the shaitan kind of not guide, showing them to this plant. And in the biblical version, it's a serpent. It shows them to it. I mean, these things could have been, as an example, it could have been that a snake moving towards this plant is what guides them to it. It guides their attention to this thing. This is then later kind of personified in a story narrative form. So, which would mean that these are, they're not necessarily metaphors. They are kind of truths, but they're kind of personifications of events, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I mean, this is a slightly interesting book, Food of the Gods, by Terence McKenna, a radical history of plants, drugs, and human evolution. And he also has a section in here about the tree of knowledge, and could this be these kind of psychoactive drugs? And I think that that's quite, I don't know, I'm finding it quite intriguing at this moment in time. Allahu A'lam. Maybe in time to come my thoughts will change again, but at this stage, um, yeah. I don't know what I've said about the whole Adam story. I've not read that from here. I don't know whether he says it. I've not actually read this yet. I've just got this, but I know he has a section in there on the food of knowledge. That's why I kind of ordered it. But this was just me thinking about it. I was kind of thinking, and I've read there's certain researchers who have said that maybe human evolution, as in scientists, they've said that maybe human evolution of cognition, of consciousness, was triggered by psychoactive, hallucinogenic properties in plants. That humans kind of hominins started to eat these, like Homo sapien, and it triggered, like, because as they tripped, it triggered consciousness. That is a theory within evolution. And I was just looking at it, kind of thinking about it, tripping, thinking about it, and I was thinking, well, and it could be that a snake, for example, led them to it. It could be that this is, and then this is later personified in this kind of story. I mean, Allahu A'lam. That's my thoughts.